our webinar today from Build It Green. This is called California First, the Opportunity for Raters and Remodelers. I'm Don Knapp, Senior Marketing Manager at Build It Green. This is going to be a 30-minute webinar, so it's not going to take too much of your time. We're going to go through some slides, and one second. Our agenda for today is to go over California First. We're going to talk about our partnership with the program California First, and this is a PACE financing program. We're going to go through the benefits for raters, contractors, consumers. We've engaged home performance and HVAC contractors already, and now we want to talk to you, raters and remodeling contractors, about California First and PACE financing and what it means for your business. We'll go into detail about California First, the program, how it works, how you can integrate it into your business, and then at the very end we'll open it up for some Q&A. So first of all, Build It Green announced, I think it was about a month ago, you probably saw it, that we announced our partnership with the California First program, which is a program of renewable funding, and we're excited about that. Many of you have been hearing about PACE for years. This is Property Assessed Clean Energy Financing. It's finally out of the gate, and we're really excited. We think this is a game changer for the green building industry, that this is going to make it much easier for homeowners to complete energy upgrades, green remodels, and for Build It Green, PACE is something that is going to help us further our mission to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, to grow the market for green homes, and to help you, our network of building professionals, succeed. So let's get started talking about some of the challenges that contractors and raters face that PACE financing can address. Number one, you're losing sales. You've got customers who are falling through the cracks because they can't pay cash for a remodel. Maybe they don't qualify for financing, or it's hard to finance. They're unwilling to because they don't want to add more debt, and maybe they don't have a good credit score. They're not sure if they want to do a large scope of work because they're not sure they want to invest in their home. Maybe they're not worried about not getting that money back at resale. And they like the idea of getting a green home certification like Greenpoint rated, but they're not going to do a big enough scope of work to get there. So they would fall short. And maybe you're going to do a remodel for a customer. You're going to advise them about some green features, but that customer isn't able to do as big of a remodel as maybe they wanted to, or maybe they're not able to add the green features that they would like to. Or, once again, they like the idea of Greenpoint rated, but they're not going to get there. So what you're looking for is bigger jobs, bigger profits, and you want happier homeowners. You want to give them the remodel that they want. The solution, lower risk innovative financing through PACE. And so PACE financing allows your customers to finance a wide range of home improvements, energy efficiency, renewable energy, water efficiency. And the gist is you repay it through your property tax over the course of up to 25 years. So what that means for a homeowner is no out-of-pocket costs, 100% financing. The financing is not based on their personal credit score. It's not based on income verification requirements or debt-to-income ratio requirements. It's not going to impact their credit score because the lien is tied to the property, not the individual. So they would pay back the debt via their property taxes as a line item on their property taxes over the course of up to 25 years. If they were to sell the home, the balance, that remaining balance will usually transfer over to the new owner upon sale. So that removes a lot of risk for people right there. And then furthermore, you're adding, as we all know, you're adding energy and water upgrades to your home. That's going to increase the value of your property. You get a Greenpoint rated certification that's going to increase it even more. Another benefit, the interest on the payments is tax deductible, and the payments spread out over a longer length of time are very reasonable, very attractive. So why it works for contractors. This program, Renewable Funding, has done a lot of fantastic work to make this a program that is easy for contractors to use. First of all, there's no dealer fees. It's a free program, free to enroll. It is minimizing administration, paperwork processing. The enrollment process is very easy. The approval process for your clients is very, very fast. And the payout is fast. Renewable Funding announced last week that contractors can get paid within 2 business days. So at this point, I want to turn it over to Amy Dryden. Many of you know Amy. She is our Senior Technical Manager at Build It Green and our Greenpoint Rated Guru, who's just going to talk in a little more detail about what California First can mean for raters and remodeling contractors. Amy? And I think Amy might be having a little bit of, a little bit of audio troubles. Okay. Well, we're not hearing Amy, so I will continue on. This slide is a little bit of a review from what I've talked about before, but we're trying to bring the message home that what this means is more jobs for remodeling contractors, that by including PACE financing for the energy upgrade and the water improvements, those aspects of a remodel, you can really bring down the overall cost of a remodel. So that means a bigger scope of work. That means that it's going to be much easier for people to add green features to their remodel. And we're going to go into more detail in a little bit about what products and what measures are eligible for California First. And so California First, by being a participating contractor, this is giving you an advantage over your competition. And at the end of the day, you're going to have happier customers. For raters, you already serve as a trusted advisor to your clients on the green features that they can add. Now you can also talk to them about green financing and how to pay for it, how to make it happen, how they can offset costs, and really give them the green dream home that they're going to love. And then through PACE financing, they can complete enough measures that makes a conversation about a Greenpoint rated certification a lot easier, a lot more appealing. So raters, today we wanted to ask you if you would be willing to share information about California First with your contractor network and with your homeowner clients. Following this webinar, we will send out an email, and we'll have a link to the enrollment form. We can have a link to some marketing collateral. And so we're hoping that you can help spread the word. We really want to create awareness about this among the general contractor community and the remodeling contractors. That is already happening in the home performance, solar, and HVAC worlds, but we see a major opportunity here for you and your business. So next, I'd like to turn it over to Annie Henderson, who is the Vice President of Programs at Renewable Funding. And Annie is going to go into a little more detail about how California First works for both you as a contractor and your homeowner customers. Annie?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out on this early Friday morning to sit in on this quick webinar about California First. What I'm going to talk about here is a couple of the eligibility requirements or policies that are part of the program. So we'll start here with the core eligibility requirements. This is essentially our underwriting criteria for financing. So we start with the customer must have at least 10% equity in their property. They must not have had more than one late payment on their mortgage in the last 12 months, and they of course have to currently be paid up on their mortgage to date. The property taxes must be current for the last 12 months. The involuntary liens must be less than $1,000 in aggregate. And we don't want to see any bankruptcies, default, or foreclosure in the last 2 years. And a quick note on this one, when we say none in the previous 2 years, that means active. So if the bankruptcy was filed 3 years ago but only resolved last year, that still counts to us as a bankruptcy, an active bankruptcy within the last 2 years. Our minimum financing amount is $5,000. The maximum is really based on the property itself. It's 10% of the property value, and we get that property value through something called an AVM, an automated valuation model. So it is based on the market value, and then we have sort of a cascade of other references that we can use. But it really helps to maximize the potential financing amount for any home. That is capped, of course, at $200,000, but that would be quite a substantial project. And then finally, and this is a little bit redundant, the combined lien to value must be less than 100%. So what that means is the PACE assessment plus the existing property debt cannot be over 100% of the property value. So between the 10% minimum equity and 10% maximum financing cap, we are already by default doing that, but we essentially do a double check to make sure that this financing is not causing anyone to be underwater on their property. You want to go to the next slide? Thanks. So as Don mentioned, we just rolled out a number of enhancements last week. 2 of those enhancements were that we lowered our rates, and we also added a 25-year term. So I'll just briefly touch on a couple points for this slide. So we do have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25-year terms. Those are based on the products which are being installed. So the maximum term is associated with the estimated useful life of that product. So the 25-year is only available to PV panels that have monitoring. 20-year is for roofs or PV or what else is in there? I believe the artificial turf might be in there. 15 years, furnaces, ACs, things like that. So a customer can get the maximum term, but they can always choose to do a shorter term if they wish to get a lower interest rate or just they don't want to finance over such a long period of time. So you can see our rates there. There is a one-time closing fee of about 6.5%. This covers basically the administration of the program. Because this is PACE financing, there is a bond which is issued. There's a lot of work that has to be done in order to support this. That 6.5% closing fee can be added to your project cost and financed as part of the overall project cost. So there is no out-of-pocket cost to a customer. We also have a one-time recording fee because this is a lien on a property, and that actually varies by county, and we are in let's see, we're in over 20 counties at this point. And in fact, we just completed forming the program basically across the entire state. And so additional cities and counties will be opting in over the next 6 months or so. In addition, there is a period of capitalized interest. So because this is part of the property taxes, depending on when the funding actually is delivered to the contractor, there's a period of time before the first payment will be paid on the next property tax. So let's say something funds today. We enroll it with the county in June, and then that customer doesn't actually pay for it until next November when they get their property tax bill, November, December. And so it's essentially 12 months no payments, but you have to pay that interest, which is accruing, up front. And that, again, gets rolled into the principal. They don't have to pay out of pocket. But it is part of the financed amount. Another update that we made last week is we removed the prepayment penalties. So at any point in time, a customer can prepay. They have to prepay a minimum of $2,500, but they can prepay in full or in part, and then we can re-amortize the remaining principal, which means now you have a smaller principal. We'll basically adjust all of those annual payments so that you can complete, you still get the remainder of your term of repayment, but now your payments will be lower. So this is a really nice feature for folks that are using like the home upgrade rebates if they're going to get $4,500, but they don't want to sort of hold back on that because they don't have the money out of pocket up front. They can finance the entire amount and then pay down the principal based on receiving that rebate. Can we go to the next slide? Great. So there's a number of eligible properties. We do have a commercial program, but today we're just really talking about residential. So due to some other supporting factors for PACE programs in California, residential properties are defined as 3 or less units. So we can do some multifamily, but maybe not the traditional definition of multifamily. So just 3 or fewer units. We can do manufactured or mobile homes, but they must actually be paying property taxes, not just DMV fees. So it has to be permanently attached to real property. We can do condos. There are some additional, I think, sign-offs that are required from associations. One great thing is that we can do rental properties or second homes. So it just, all of the owners on title have to sign off on the financing, but there are several financing products out there where it must be the primary residence, and that's not the case for PACE financing. So we're able to do rental properties and second homes. The only thing we can't do is new construction. Go to the next slide. Thank you. So we have over 50 product types. So product type is something like solar PV, central air conditioning, furnace, insulation. And then there are any number of manufacturers and models that can fall under that product type. We do have minimum eligibility criteria. For example, an AC unit must be at least 14 SEER, 11 EAR. Insulation, depending on where the insulation is placed, floor versus attic versus wall, there's certain R values that it must meet. Same with windows. There's a specific U value. And all of this is outlined in our eligible products list that you can access in our handbook and on our website. And as you can see, there is a number of products ranging from renewable energy, energy efficiency, and water conservation. And we continue to add to those. So this week, beginning of this week, we just added about 14 new jurisdictions. What we're representing here in the map and the list is those counties in which all of our jurisdictions are located. Some of these counties we have basically full participation, meaning we have the unincorporated area as well as every single incorporated city. So Alameda, Napa, San Mateo, let's see, San Benito, not that many cities in San Benito, Ventura, we have every single, and Monterey, we have every single city as well as the unincorporated area participating. In some of the other areas, Los Angeles, Riverside, Stanislaus, we have just one city participating. So I do encourage you to go to our website, take a look at the cities and counties that are participating. And the reason it's not just county or county participates and then everybody can participate is because this is a private-public financing relationship where we're actually issuing municipal bonds, placing liens on the property. It is considered a tax on the property, tax assessment. And so the local government has to opt into our program. So now that we've legally set up the program essentially across the entire state, any city or county which is a member of our bonding sponsor, which is the CSCDA, California Statewide Communities Development Authority, any one of those cities or counties, we have legally formed the program there. They just need to opt in. So if you want to do, if you see on our map, oh, they're not in my region, I would really like for them to be, I don't know, further up in Northern California, or I'd love to help them get Santa Barbara or Riverside or San Bernardino, you can go to californiafirst.org/opt_in. And all of the documents that a local jurisdiction needs to join the program are in there. And there's no fee to a city or county. They can just go ahead, pass that resolution, send it in to us, and we turn on the program. And then they can start financing projects for their local residents. Can we go to the next slide? So we are offering a limited time incentive. We're pretty excited about this. So we call it Cal Cash. And it's essentially a $500 check to the homeowner for any project which is submitted and approved by December 31st. There is sort of a bonus component to this where if the project cost is $25,000 or more, that check goes up to $1,000. And then we have a third level, and it's $750 regardless of the project cost. So it can be under $25,000. However, to receive $750, you must be installing a combined heating cooling unit or a furnace and an AC at the same time within the same project. Of course, if that project then bumps over $25,000, you qualify for $1,000. So it's a really great way to try and get folks interested and involved in our program, since we are a new program. But also, this is kind of a slow time of year often, and so really trying to get folks not to just replace their furnace, but to replace their furnace and AC, since the components work with one another, and that's why we issued that $750 HVAC equipment. But this will be available through the end of the year. I think I might have one more slide. Oh, I have a few more, that's right. So we have a number of tools on our website to help contractors identify which projects might be eligible, how much financing they might get, and then what that payment might look like. So what we're looking at here is the eligibility tool. And you can get to this by going to our website and clicking on the contractor toolkit. Everybody has access to this. It's not behind a login. So you just simply enter an address, and then we'll give you one of potentially 3 different messages. Starting at the bottom there, you see the green says, great news, you're in a participating community, and the address could qualify for up to X amount. And that is simply based on that market value that we're looking at for a project. We haven't done full underwriting, but this tool is just meant to help indicate what a potential sale could be. And then we do the full underwriting when you call in and apply. Sometimes we don't have enough market information to really nail down what that market value is. We'd have to do a few more steps when you call in the application, so we can say, okay, it's in a participating area. Data suggests what the max financing might be, but we're sort of letting you know we need to do a little bit more digging. And then the last response you could get is that, unfortunately, it's not yet in a participating community, but contact us and we'll help get that community started. So that is our eligibility tool, and that's available to everyone. So you can go there and essentially check out a sale before you go and pitch it to a homeowner. Check and see if they're in a participating area and if it looks like they'll qualify for financing. The other tool we have is a calculator. And in fact, sorry, these screenshots, we are moving very quickly. We are a new program, and we're looking to continuously improve and provide better service to the contractors and raters that use our product. So this is even a little outdated from last week. We continue to enhance it. But what you can do is go in and put in your project cost as well as your county. You can enter in some tax information about what tax bracket a customer might be in, or just leave it at the default. When you click Estimate Financing, you'll see what the annual payment would be, as well as the monthly. You'll see that by the different terms. Now there is one that says 25 years, and it also has our lower rates. But you're able to see sort of what the net cost would be. You'll see the payment on a yearly basis, the tax savings, and then the net cost. And we're going to be rolling out a couple more enhancements to this over the next couple of weeks, where we show the cost breakdown so you can see what those closing fees and capitalized interest are. And we'll also be adding the ability, just like with that tax information, we'll be adding the ability to input what you believe the utility cost savings as well as the utility escalation rate might be, so that you could then present to a homeowner, okay, here is what your payment will be per your new tax bill, but here's what the net cost could look like after your tax savings and your utility cost savings. So that is our calculator. And then we also have, once you're an approved contractor, you can log in and we offer a pipeline so you can see all the applications that you've submitted, what the status is. And then we do provide a contractor toolkit, so it has brochures and pitch book inserts, and we have our program handbook in here, the list of eligible products. We have some handouts for the homeowners, some nice brochures there, lots of information that's easy to reference. And that is all available up on our website.
Great. Thanks, Annie. So, by the way, we're already getting some great questions through the chat window, and if you have any questions, you can go ahead and start submitting that. When we wrap up the presentation, we'll jump into Q&A. So, you're probably already thinking, well, how does this fit into my business model? The contractors, particularly home performance contractors, have told us that this is a great fit for customers who want longer-term financing, who like the benefits of PACE, who don't want their credit to be impacted, or don't want to pay upfront costs. So something to think about where this fits into your business model, how you would talk about it to your customers. When we gave this presentation to our audience of HVAC and home performance contractors, we were really excited to put forth the idea that you can combine California First with Home Upgrade, an energy rebate program. That's $6,500 back in home upgrade rebates. You combine that with the $1,000 Cal Cash, and then a great financing tool like California First. It really makes doing an energy upgrade appealing. And so the same is true for all of you. The addition is Greenpoint rated. This really makes Greenpoint rated certification a lot more attainable, and homeowners going to get that certification, increase their home resale value, lower their energy bills, have a more comfortable, healthy, efficient home. So there's a strong tie-in here. Build It Green, our role in the program is we're engaging our network of contractors and raters, and we're going to work with you all to help the program work for you and for your customers. We want to convey your feedback on the program back to Renewable Funding and California First, what's working, what you'd like to see different. We're going to share contractor best practices, and we're going to provide mentoring on how to incorporate this into your business, how to market it, how to talk about it, how to make the sale. And becoming an approved contractor in California First is quite easy. It's very simple, very straightforward. You attend a training, which I believe, Annie, takes place twice a week at this point, and then you submit your enrollment form. And it's a very straightforward enrollment form asking some basic questions and submitting several key documents. So just to wrap up, California First, very competitive with other financing available. The key difference is that it's through the property taxes and that the balance can transfer to a new owner upon sale. And this is not going to appear on a credit report. And the savings from your utility bill can really help offset your monthly payment or your property tax payment. So we're excited about it. Hope you are too. And we want to know what you think. So give us a call or email us. Tell us your feedback. If you're willing to share this, if you need any marketing materials, please don't hesitate to contact us. So let's open it up to Q&A. And I do have Amy Dryden sitting next to me now. So if there's any questions that are relevant for her, she can answer it. I'm sure Annie will be answering the bulk of them, since the questions we're getting are programmatic. So number one, will we be sharing the PowerPoint with callers after this conference call? Absolutely. We're recording it. We'll send out these slides. We'll send out a recording. Next question, how long does a house have to be occupied in order to qualify for California First? Annie, do you want to take that question?
Sure. So we do need, if it's essentially a newly built home, we would need some sort of certificate of occupancy to show that there were occupants prior to financing. If it is a newly purchased home, meaning it's constructed previously but the owner is new to the home, that's fine. For some of the items where we say, you know, we're going to look at the property for the last X amount of years, it's X amount of years or since ownership.
Okay, thanks. Next question is, if credit does not matter, just equity, does this mean that you will still run a credit report to determine if there's any previous bankruptcies?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, we do still pull a credit report because things like bankruptcies are shown on the credit report. You're correct. And we do get authorization from the homeowners before we do that. We let them know that we're pulling a credit report, but we are not looking at the FICO score. We're not recording the FICO score in our systems. So we're really just looking for some other aspects and information that is on that credit report.
Okay, next question. Can you discuss how the program would work with a turnkey project? That That is to say, an owner builder, the owner intends to resell the project as soon as it is complete.
I'm not sure that I totally understand the context.
So I think, Annie, the question here is if there's an owner builder and they may have recently purchased the home as a flipper, or they're actually occupying it and going to do the upgrade, so it is their home, doing the upgrades, and then going to sell it immediately after completing it. Are there any conditions with that situation?
No conditions. We do allow for self-installs. There's, a special agreement that a self-installer must abide by. Essentially, all of the same things we ask of a contractor. That, they're not fraudulently increasing the cost, because in that scenario that we're discussing, the debt associated with the improvements would be passed on to the new owner. So we want to make sure that that's in fact in line with the improvements being made. Also that all the appropriate permits would be pulled and so forth. I don't think any of that is too new or different from what you would experience with other financing or rebate programs. We are recording a lien on the property, and by doing that, it will come up in a title search or a title report. And so the new property owner will have disclosure about the additional debt on the property. And so that is that we do regardless. That's just part of our process and how we're securing the finance with the property as the backing collateral. And so I don't think there are any special conditions to a situation where there is an owner builder who intends to sell the home shortly after they have taken out financing.
Okay, thanks. Next question, is CalCash available if no air conditioning is needed, like in a coastal zone or climate zone 3?
It would be, but only to the $500. If it's below $25,000, that project would just qualify for $500, not the $750. If it's over $25,000, then that project would qualify for the $1,000.
Okay. Next question is about what things beyond products can be applied to California First funding. So can HERS tests or Greenpoint rated certification or energy calcs be included?
Great question. So permits, design, engineering, obviously labor, equipment, energy audit, all of that can be financed along with the project.
Okay.
And I would lump in the Greenpoint rating with that and the HERS testing.
Right. So let's see. Do projects need to have test out verification by a HERS rater with EEM certification?
They do not. So we are not asking for test out. We are asking for some of the numbers that would be acquired through a test out, but we do not specifically ask for test out.
Okay. A question about the interest rate. Why would someone pay 6.5 points closing and 6 to 8% interest, which makes this loan cost 13 to 15% the first year, if they could afford conventional financing at 4%?
So it doesn't, yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. So the 6.5% is maybe closing fees that you wouldn't see with some other products, but it is pretty typical of PACE, and is, in fact, our program is lower than some other PACE programs in terms of our interest rates as well as our closing fees. There are a lot of products on the market that a customer can choose from, and PACE will not always be the one that works for them. We realize that, but it's a very good option for a lot of people. So some folks might not have the equity requirements that are required for some other products. Other products might ask for 20% minimum equity. They might also have debt-to-income ratios that that particular homeowner cannot qualify, or income verification where they don't qualify. Credit score qualifications where they don't meet the threshold, in which case PACE becomes very attractive. And if you do look at a number of products, they advertise the 4%, but that's for people with like an 800 FICO score, and then that continues to go up as the FICO score comes down. And so then you see that it is, in fact, very competitive with what's on the market, not to mention that it's not going to impact your future debt to income, that the interest portion is tax deductible, which you're not going to have that on a personal loan. This transfers with the property and is not considered part of your personal debt. So there's a lot of factors, I think, that are very attractive to people, and that it does come out to be very competitive with other products.
Thanks, Annie. Next question, and this is from the same person, will people with PACE financing be able to refinance or sell their home without paying off the PACE loan?
So another good question. So we have seen throughout the PACE programs in California, programs like Skype in Sonoma County have been running for a long time, and we're finding that a very small percent are required to pay off at the time of sale, and oftentimes it's not because of the next lender, it's because of the purchaser. So the purchaser is sort of uncomfortable or uninformed about sort of how these assessments work, and they want it paid off, and that's fine. So the homeowner has then paid it off, but then they ask for more money for the home because those improvements are now fully paid off and available. And so it's a bit of a wash in that sale process. We are seeing that, but it's typically requested by the purchaser. And again, we've seen, I wish I had these numbers off the top of my head, but it is over 50% of them are transferring at time of sale. Refinancing, I don't have the numbers off the, at the tip of my fingers. But there have been issues with, and I'm guessing this is what it's getting at, is the FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, who basically said they would not refinance homes with PACE liens. They have recently, there have been articles recently indicating that FHFA is working with some of the largest mortgage holders and has made agreements that they will refinance or allow for a new mortgage for homes with PACE liens. So we're seeing transition there, and I think that's a very good move by FHFA because these products are improving the value of the home. It's improving that homeowner's position to repay their mortgage because now they have energy savings, and their energy savings could be greater than what they're paying for this financing. So we are definitely moving forward and making progress there, and we have not had any major hiccups in terms of transfer of these assessments at time of sale.
Okay, thanks. I've got one more question. What if you have leased solar PV but now want to purchase the PV under this program? Would that qualify through California First?
So unfortunately, if it's pre-existing equipment that is already installed, we cannot finance it. If you have a customer who is interested in doing a lease or a PPA, power purchase agreement, because they like the idea of third-party ownership that gives them, the cost benefit of somebody else being able to take the full 30% tax credit, or they like that it's going to be maintained by someone else. The option that is available to those individuals with California First is to use our financing to pay for what is called a prepaid lease or prepaid PPA. So the groups that offer that type of financing will essentially say, okay, we still have an X number of year, 20-year agreement, let's say, but rather than you paying us on a monthly basis, either as a lease or based on production, we'll just sum up and give you a bit of a discount, and you pay it all up front. And the third party still owns it, and there's still that term agreement, but you just pay for it all up front. It's sort of like rather than having a monthly cell phone bill, you just paid for all of it up front. But you still, that's for so long, and then at the end the service would end. You can use California First financing to basically get the money you would need to make that one-time payment. So that is available under our program.
Okay. So that's all our questions, and I think we can wrap up at this point. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We will be in touch with you with the PowerPoint slides and the recording. And happy Friday, everybody. Thanks again for joining, and don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions or want to provide feedback. So have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.